Okay, so this video is basically going to be for people that call a magazine a clip but don't really know the difference. So I'm going to have several examples of different style magazines and an example of a clip and show you the difference. So right here we have a tube style magazine. Right here. This is the magazine. This basically is one of the oldest styles of modern magazines that we have. This goes all the way back to the late 1850s. Mostly it got popular with the 1860 Henry, and the Henry Company actually still uses this style of magazine. But just for people that don't know, the modern Henry Company is not the same company that made the 1860 Henry. That was originally made by Winchester. They just called it the Henry because it was designed by Benjamin Tyler Henry. So basically what you do with this one is you turn it down here at the end, and then you pull the tube all the way out. Now, the biggest difference between magazines and clips is that magazines have springs. All magazines have springs, every one of them. And then you could see that right here, you have a little loading gate that you could put your rounds into. And then when you're done, you just slide this tube, or this rod with the spring in it, and back inside the tube. And then you twist it. I'm not going to try to do it right here one-handed because that would just be a pain in the ass. Alright. So the next example that we have here is another tube magazine. As you'll see, it looks just like the same as the one before. It's down here on the bottom, except this one is different. You do not pull this, you do not untwist here and pull it out. This actually has a loading gate right here. This is called the King's loading gate. You put your rounds in through here and it goes down into this tube, and now inside this tube is a spring, because every time that you rack this lever down, it's going to eject the spent casing, and then the spring that's in here is going to push around onto a loading lever that will load it and push it back up into the chamber. This started about mid-1860s to 1866. Winchester was the first one to have this King's loading gate, and pretty much all lever action rifles up to modern day now still use this style. Even the Henry Company is finally catching up to the loading gate, which is honestly the best way. It's much easier to load than it is to pull a tube out and load it through a little loading gate down here. And you can easily load on the go, which makes these great guns for hunting and home defense. Okay, now here we move to shotguns. Once again, tube style magazine. Once again, this is how you take the barrel out. This is not how you put rounds in the tube. This does not have a loading gate on the side. This actually has an underloader. And right here, I don't know how well I can get that for you. Right here, there's a spring. Because see, I push it in, then I let go and it comes back out. Just like in all other magazines, there is a spring. So when you rack the pump back, which I have to hit this unlock thing and rack back at the same time, it's kind of hard to do one-handed, it'll basically kick out the spent shell and slam another one in there into the chamber, and when you push the pump back forward, it'll put it right in the chamber. This style came about in the late 1800s, about 1880, 1885. Not invented by John Moses Browning, but pretty much made famous by his design. and it's still pretty much used the same way to this day. Pump shotguns are timeless. Some of the best all-around guns you can have. Now we start getting into a little bit more modern. This does not have a tube magazine. As you can see, this is just a cleaning rod. This has an internal magazine that is not detachable. This magazine does not come out. You load this through the top, and as you can see, it goes into the magazine. There is a spring here. Let's see if I can get this open. This is a leaf spring. Just like any other magazine, there's a spring. And that's also one way you can actually eject rounds out of a Mosin Nagant for people out there that have a Mosin Nagant. So this, you could take a stripper clip and load these rounds into this magazine. And I'll show you what a stripper clip is here shortly. But then you push them down into this magazine, 5 rounds, and then you can close the bolt, you chamber it around. When you fire, that will eject one, pick the next one up, and then when you close it, it'll put another round in the chamber and you're ready to go. This is an internal magazine, non-detachable internal magazine. Okay, now we have some modern style magazines. These are detachable box style magazines. This is for a pistol. See the spring? This is for an AR-15. Once again, the spring. Now these go up inside the firearm and detach. I didn't break out one to show you because it really kind of get the gist. But once again, they have a spring. What makes these nice is they can drop one and reload it with another magazine. You're not loading individual rounds into an internal magazine or to a tubular style magazine. And finally, we have the clip. This is a clip. This is a standard stripper clip. Most of your stripper clips are of this design. This is it. This is just a piece folded over, stamped metal, sometimes aluminum, sometimes steel. Depends on the gun, depends on the brand. This is what a stripper clip does. It holds the rounds in here by the rim of the casing. You push this into, you put this into the top of a gun that requires a stripper clip, or not always requires, but you can use one. And then you push the rounds down inside the magazine, and then you take and yank this out. Now there are other style of clips that actually do go into the firearm. They're Mannlicher style, also known more commonly as en-bloc clips, which you see a lot in, which is basically known for in the M1 Garand. And they also have them in other style firearms too. Even moon clips for revolvers are a style of en-bloc clips. But this is the big difference between a clip and a magazine. Magazines have springs. All of them do. Clips do not. Even ones that go inside of a gun, inside the action, do not have springs. They just hold the rounds. They typically all hold them by the rim of the casing. So, hope this video helped.